D&D reveals a new leader and brand new business model, and if that doesn't have you scared, it should.
You are scaring me!
Before we talk Dungeons & Dragons' massive internal overhaul and new leader, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep videos like this one coming? And then, let's dive into some D&D news. Dungeons & Dragons has been losing its top leadership left and right for the past 2 months, with Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford jumping ship to Critical Role and Daggerheart, Jess Lanzillo leaving after running the brand for only about 2 years, and video content head Todd Kendrick getting laid off. But now they have a brand new leader with a brand new vision for the iconic TTRPG system, and to be completely honest, it has us terrified. Dan Ayub will be taking over from Jess Lanzillo as the new head of Dungeons & Dragons, and has pitched a radical new approach to the venerable TTRPG brand, which he calls a quote franchise model, where D&D will now be handling all aspects of its content from books, video games, films, and TV in-house under one roof. Ayub, who was previously the VP of Digital Games at Wizards of the Coast, as well as being a longtime Microsoft and Halo employee, announced a huge shift in direction in his LinkedIn post where he revealed his new job, and also that these massive structural changes to the D&D brand were already happening and would allow for a, quote, strong, coordinated, and well-funded approach for the franchise, and most importantly, for us the fans. The only problem is, name me the last thing D&D made in-house that you actually loved. Under this franchise model, Larian Studios would never have made Baldur's Gate 3, which was made entirely out of house, and is one of the only bright lights and big money makers in what has been 3 pretty brutal years for the D&D brand. To this day, it's one of the few things propping up D&D, with its cast being used as much as humanly possible in D&D content for the last 2 years, and the last time D&D made an in-house video game which would fit with Ayub's new, quote, franchise model, it was the unmitigated disaster that was Dark Alliance, which immediately flamed out as a critical and commercial failure before the servers were finally shut down months ago. And let's look back just a few months ago to the disaster that was the Sigil VTT, where we found out after the firing of nearly all the people who created it that they hadn't even known there was a second VTT, the much more popular Maps virtual tabletop, being created at the same time in the same company. And yet somehow this is also the company that's going to give us coordinated, well-funded content, when they couldn't even figure out they had 2 teams working on competing virtual tabletops at the same time for months and months. The sourcebook arena is just as brutal, with all the biggest hits coming from third-party sources, like the Crooked Moon supplement from Legends of Evantris, the amazing Drakkenheim content from the Dungeon Dudes, and of course MCDM putting out what I would consider the best content of all of 5e with titles like Flee Mortals. But what has D&D done internally during the same time? You know, the in-house stuff that they'll be pushing with this new franchise model? Well, Dragonlance was a disaster and not even a real sourcebook. Spelljammer launched with tons of controversy and almost no actual space combat. Planescape was a surface-level skim that left fans of that vast and incredibly imaginative setting fuming over the lack of content. And really only the 2024 rulebooks have had any sort of positive traction in the last few years. And even then, we learned that the vast majority of D&D players were still ignoring the rules for the somewhat half-baked half edition based on D&D Beyond usage numbers. They even had to reprint most of their deck of many things due to massive printing errors and delay the shipping of what was supposed to be one of their big flagship products of 2023 into 2024. It's just been a complete mess with in-house releases for D&D. And D&D literally hasn't had an in-house banger in modern memory. I sat here and struggled to think of anything that has come out from them directly in the past 3 years that was a genuine, critical success with fans. And I think the last thing that really resonated with fans at all was that big release of the Tasha Mordenkainen bundle 3 years back. But now, these will be the people handling all aspects of D&D instead of reaching out to the outside studios and the third-party publishers that have largely been keeping the game afloat in these trying times. And frankly, that scares the hell out of us. Putting more of the responsibility onto the overworked and understaffed employees at D&D and Wizards of the Coast, especially after this latest round of layoffs, feels like a recipe for complete disaster and at the worst possible time, as Daggerheart is cutting into their sales, And they still have Draw Steel waiting to poach off even more D&D players, and the Cosmere RPG about to drop with its instantly D20 accessible system and record-breaking Kickstarter backing. So if D&D thinks the answer is to just squeeze some more blood from the same stones that have been turning out duds for the last several years, the golden age of TTRPGs could soon become the dark age of Dungeons & Dragons. So what do you think? Are we overreacting, or is this franchise model one of the worst ideas that D&D could have had at this time? Let us know down in the comments what you think, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.